All right, part 2 of the Sig talk. This is the 320 X10. I've carried this since I moved to Montana, so like 2 years. It's the 10 mil version. I carry it loaded, mostly in the chest holster. I haven't had any issues with it. I've done the test where you stack the trigger and the play. There is not that the gun in Wyoming gun projects video. There's a lot of play. Both of my 320s, I don't have that same play. That's why I kind of, if you watch part 1 of this video, I think it has something to do with tolerance stacking and just parts coming from different OEM manufacturers, and maybe you're not getting as tight of a fit or as controlled of a fit. But that being said, one instance that I had with this, and it actually scared the crap out of me, but I was on my dirt bike, chest holster, trying to kickstart it. It walks out of the holster, lands on a rock like this on the back of it, basically right towards me, and it kind of was like, oh crap. But I did put the agency trigger safety trigger on there early on. I think that like, I don't carry the M17 that was in the first part 1 video. I don't carry that at all. I got it because a large portion of my collection is USGI stuff, so it's just part of the US military handgun collection. I don't carry it. I've shot it like a handful of times, if that. But this one I actually carry, so I put that agency trigger on there. I feel more comfortable with it. I think that it doesn't necessarily solve all the potential issues that we're seeing, but I do think that it prevents, if the issue is that the trigger is disengaging the striker safety from some kind of input, and it's not all the way back, it does kind of solve that. And I'm going to test that. I'm going to put pressure on the side of the trigger, not engaging that trigger safety. So as far as back as the trigger will go with that trigger safety, and we'll see if it fires. So primed 10 mil case. There was a 9 mil case inside of the 10 mil, so I took that out. So now it's just the 10 mil primed case. And again, I'm just going to put pressure. You can see I'm engaging that trigger safety. That's as far as it goes back with the trigger safety still engaged. So I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to try to manually disengage the striker. Okay, so that one didn't do it. Drop my little Allen key. All right, there's no indentation whatsoever on the primer. Try that one more time. And again, I'm going to engage the trigger to the point where the trigger safety will allow, so it won't. So as far as back as it far as back as the trigger will go with the trigger safety engaged. Manually release that striker, and nothing. All right, and then the last, we'll do it one more time with some manipulation. See if that changes anything. Same thing, trigger as far as it goes back. All right, so didn't do it. And then the last test will be, which I can guess that it will go like the last one, where I'm just going to go to the wall and I'm not sticking anything in there. You can trust me or not whether I'm following through. I'm disengaging that trigger safety. I'm just going to the wall, just right there. So it fires. You can see the trigger, once the striker released, the trigger went back a little bit. That was just from it releasing the tension on the trigger. So it seems that this trigger safety prevents it from going back to where it could potentially be an issue. Is that the issue overall? Does this trigger solve all the problems? No, maybe, who knows? I will say that it makes me more comfortable having this trigger safety. I've actually had an issue with that with the 320s from the start. I think they were trying to be different, and I don't know why Sig does the things they do, but I feel like they were trying to make it more like a conventional, like a single action. That's why it's a loaded striker instead of a striker like a Glock, where it actually moves it back and then releases it with the pulling of the trigger. This one is already staged with under spring tension, and then you're just releasing it. I personally don't think that 320 triggers are that much better. They're a little spongy and mushy, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think that having this trigger safety from the start would have at least mitigated the early issues, which was the inertia of the trigger with the drop safe. Would it have fixed the issues that we're seeing now? I don't know, and I don't know if anybody knows. I don't even know if Sig knows. So I think if there was a clear and discernible problem that they could identify, I think that they would have, at a very minimum, started making some rolling changes and upgrades like they did with the former trigger. I don't think they would have completely ignored it, because that opens them up for even more liability. If it's an issue that can be easily identifiable, this is the problem, it can be fixed with this, and they didn't do that, then that opens them up to more legal challenges, I would think. I don't know much about the world or legal stuff, but just logically speaking. So anyway, I thought I'd make those two videos. Go check out the first part with the M17. I don't think it really proves anything either way, just something I was curious about. Haven't seen anything about the thumb safety and the agency trigger safety. So, all right, see you next time. Thanks for watching.